right. Looks like I'm live. I get this thing started. Okay. What's going on, everybody? Figured I'd do a live session. Seems to matter to most people that right around 10 or 11 a.m. that the live sessions are pretty helpful to them right before the 11 a.m. 4-hour candle close. So I figured I'd do a live session right now. What's going on, G4L Jack? What's up, Paul? How's it going? Let me know if you guys can hear me and see my screen properly, and we'll get started in a second here. What's going on, June ID? What's up? All right. Let's see here. Yeah, so a lot's been going on in the market. We took a couple of trades this morning, so I'll go over that in a second. You're in Sweden. Nice. Welcome, Paul. What's up, Ezekiel? What's up, Richard? How's it going? Hopefully everyone's doing well. What's up, Bruce? What's going on, everybody? All right. So, yeah, I wanted to do a quick live session explaining some of the things that I'm seeing in the market. And then, I'll take some questions in terms of specific altcoins or anything a little bit after. Okay. So what we have right now, folks, is, again, a big movement up. I was talking to my Advantage members this morning, like right around this area. I think in our Bitcoin analysis section, let me see here. I think just this morning and even yesterday, I was talking to them about, potentially aiming towards this 50 fib, the 618 fib area as a scalp long. And just this morning, we actually took that long position right over here. I think I entered in right around 95, 92. So we're up about close to $140, $150 in profit so far. So pretty decent movement so far. Now, the one reason why I knew to take in a scalp long, and again, by the way, just so you guys don't attack me, I am still short. Okay, so I have 2 accounts on Bybit, and of course, I have my Coinbase Pro account. I am still short. All right, I actually added on to my short position right now. Well, not right now, but just about an hour ago or a couple hours ago. And my average is about like 95, 85 or something like that on my short position. So I am still holding my swing short, but I got into a scalp long this morning because I just saw that the market was hitting key support levels and was getting good bids on BTC. So right here on this wick down, this is the one that I bought on the way back up. And then now we're looking pretty decent over here, looking like we want to push up a little bit further. So I'm still thinking that from here, we're possibly going to push up a little bit more. And like I said, I think we're probably going to head towards these fib levels. Let me turn this off. Let me see here. So these fib levels on the way up, okay? So let's see, the 50 fib over here, let me actually delete this thing. The 50 fib right there, and maybe the 618 fib. So I still think there's a bit more room to go to the upside. And you can see right now, if you're someone who uses pivots, we're right there around the R1 pivot. I'm thinking that we're probably going to head towards that R2 pivot right there, possibly. So that's around that 98, 91 area. Okay. So my targets for the most part are 98.50, 99.80, that range. And I moved up my stop to about 9,500. So the Advantage members got to see exactly when I hopped into the trade. And I think 2 other people messaged me that they got into the trade as well. So, kudos to them so far. I think we're doing all right. So the trade is going pretty well. And then another trade that we entered this morning was the euro dollar long trade. And this was, again, only for Advantage members. I don't really give out that many free trades to just on the free side, because that information is reserved for the Advantage members. But on the free side, we took this trade in the morning. right around, I think, 1.1264. And then I averaged down as the price kept grinding down in the euro dollar area. And then I took some profit. Where was it? Where's my profit right there? Oh, there it is. There's my profit right there. Got it. Got about 0.25% profit on that. And again, when it comes to FX, with the size of money that FX trades are, 0.25% profit in less than a couple hours is pretty sizable money. Okay. But anyway, going back to crypto, I'm still not seeing a whole lot of necessary reason to think that we're going to just be bullish from here. I'm still thinking that, this is probably going to be just a rebound and a retest, or rather a rebound and a retrace to the upside, and then possibly start rolling over again. Okay. So what's going on, El Hexagon? Yeah, so, Bloomberg had this whole article about Bitcoin will approach record high of $20,000 this year. I don't know where they come up with this shit, but like these people are ridiculous. I'm sure these guys were, calling for the for Bitcoin prices to go like 30 or 40,000 when it was already at 20,000, and when prices were at 3,000 like a couple of years ago, they're probably calling for like $1,000 or 500. So I don't really pay attention to news networks when it comes to their analysis of where prices are going to be, because sometimes it's just like too much sensationalizing. Yes, they provide some data points and stuff, but like I don't think that these people really care the kind of content that they put out. I think they're just doing whatever it takes to get clicks, right? It's all clickbait anyway. I clicked on it. I'm sure you clicked on it. I'm sure 100 other people clicked on it, right? But the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I personally don't believe this is true. Okay. This morning, we saw the Bitcoin mining difficulty see its 8th biggest drop in history. Now, I'm not saying that this necessarily is bullish or bearish for Bitcoin, but I think this article mentioned that the last time we saw Bitcoin hash rate drop was we saw the second largest drop in its history of 15.95% just about 2 months ago, which itself followed the Black Thursday in March. So that was this thing right here, okay? Or was it? This drop right here. All right, so I'm not saying that, okay, this time around that drop in difficulty is again going to mean we sell off again. I'm trying to be balanced and trying to understand, okay, what exactly are the historical contexts of, drops in the hashing rate, right? So the difficulty adjustment. And so in March 2011, okay, for example, it says a nearly 10% drop had resulted in difficulty of 68.98K. Today, a similar percentage drop has meant a difficulty to about 13.57T. Though the change is enormous over the years, the latter is still the lowest level since the beginning of this year. I think all they're really trying to tell you, just to summarize, guys, is we don't know what the hell is going to happen. I literally think that's the entire premise of the article. But if I were to look at the way Bitcoin is positioned in terms of its price, and also I talked about how there was exchange inflows on my Twitter feed of how we saw an unknown mining pool show a big drop, or not drop, but rather inflows moving into the exchange when the price dropped. Okay, so if we go out over here, was that big drop actually? Let's check this out. Let me see here. Let's go back to this. See exactly where this was. Okay, so I think right around this area. Okay, let's bring up this chart as well. My God, this thing is so messy. I don't know. I don't even understand how this thing. Okay, there we go. Pull this down a little bit. This thing is so confusing. I don't know what the heck to make out of it. Just give me 1 second, okay? And let me just refresh this because this is freaking annoying. It's like the most ridiculous thing ever. So what I'm trying to show you guys is, the reason this chart is important is because it shows all exchange inflows, meaning who is moving Bitcoin to which exchange and for what purpose. And so typically when Bitcoin is moved to a specific exchange, all right, it means that someone is looking to sell, right? I mean, that's what it would imply if you're moving Bitcoin to a specific exchange. And so what that actually showed was, even I think it was, I don't know which exchange it was. I think derivative exchanges right here. This is, I think, where it was, where we saw that big drop. I think we saw, about 5,000 or 10,000 Bitcoin moved to that specific exchange. And I think that exchange was Bitfinex, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to find it exactly where it was. Let me see here. Let's see. And let's see, auto scale. It's just so hard to figure out. I think what I saw was there's about 6,000 BTC moved. I know it's on my Twitter feed, so let me just make sure I find that real quick for y'all, just so we can see it in a nice, picture. So this is what I was talking about. Okay, so about 2,293 mining pool inflows that came into the dip. Okay, let me see here. All right, so inflows meant Bitcoin was being moved from miners to exchanges. Outflows from mining pools means that they're moving that Bitcoin onto exchanges. Okay, so that was telling us that this pool right here, unknown mining pool, was actually getting ready to sell their Bitcoin. And when they did, obviously that's when we saw that big price drop right here just about 2 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, right? So here we are again, trying to grind back up. And I actually particularly like these price grinds back up, because what that tells me is price is probably going to try to come back towards these levels. Let me show you guys this just based on fibs right here. And then from here, I'm hoping it starts rolling over. And that could be another shorting opportunity for Bitcoin. Okay, I think everyone and their mother now is again starting to call how this was bullish, and we're probably going to push up to 11,000 or something from here. I think that's, I don't know, getting a little bit too ahead of themselves. I think that's a little bit premature. I'm possibly thinking that we're going to roll up here and maybe start, rolling back to the downside. If you're looking for true confirmation of when we're going to start breaking down, I would probably say once we start breaking this movement right here, or this marker right here around June monthly open, which is 94.45, I'd probably say that's a safer short. Okay, that's probably the more safer short. Once we start rolling over from here and start doing something like that, that'd be your short, and your stop could be up here, or once it starts breaking this area, your stop could be right here. Okay, so I'm still short. Okay, I did take a scalp long for those of you guys who are just joining us. And so we're up, a good $150 or so in our long position so far. All right. Let me see here. So, again, I'm not really that big of a believer in whenever Bloomberg talks about Bitcoin, if it even means anything. I really don't care, to be honest. I think, more often than not, like these people come out of the woodwork when Bitcoin prices are literally at their all-time highs. Same thing with Paul Tudor Jones, right? When price literally hit 10,000, he started talking about, oh, well, I own Bitcoin and I think it's going to be something that is going to displace fiat, or it's going to be, just as important as gold. And then they literally disappear once the price starts, going down, right? Only when it's all-time highs do people come out of the woodwork and start talking about Bitcoin is breaking out and it's going to hit 20,000 or 40,000 or whatever. And it's ridiculous to me because I don't really think these people care at all about what happens to Bitcoin, nor do I think that they have any idea how the heck Bitcoin works in terms of, its mining capability, what's happening with the halving event, etc. Okay. I think they just think of it as, all right, well, I made some money. Let me hype it up. Let me try to exit my position. And then the price dumps. I mean, if you guys look at it, I think Paul Tudor Jones literally talked about Bitcoin right at the 10,000 high right here on 7th of May. And then 2 or 3 days later, dumped, almost $2,000. Okay. So just be careful whenever people like this start hyping you up on Bitcoin. Be able to control your emotions and start to understand why is that people at a specific level, the media and specific people, start talking about Bitcoin. And then you'll know, like, hey, I don't want to listen to this person. Like, it's all bullshit whenever they start coming out with their calls about 20 or 40,000 or whatever. Okay. So, anyway, the one thing I wanted to mention was the outflows of what was happening from mining pools and going into the inflows over here. And I talked about how, there's possibly more and more miners who are going to have to sell more Bitcoin due to the average production costs, which are way the heck up here, right? Anywhere between $10,800 to about $15,800 is the total production cost of Bitcoin. And again, that's electricity, rent, insurance, etc. Now, the bullish case to all this is something like this. Okay, so let's just say this mining drop, right? Mining difficulty drop is bullish for Bitcoin. So that means miners require less energy to start mining Bitcoin, which could possibly mean they may not be selling as much, which could mean that there's not enough sell pressure in the market. And maybe if there's enough demand, we could keep driving this price up. Okay. So yes, that is a bullish case scenario. But does that change the idea of production costs still being at extreme levels, like anywhere between 10.8 and all the way to about $15,800 or so? It doesn't change that at all, right? So the point is, even if miners have their difficulty adjustments, it doesn't change that they still have costs to bear. And the only way they can bear those costs is by selling more Bitcoin, which creates more supply onto the market. Now, there's another indicator that someone came out with. It's called the FF whale model. I'm going to talk to this individual and I'll see if we can bring him onto our channel in terms of a video. And we can ask him some questions about his model. But supposedly, this quantum analysis model uses dozens of statistical modeling measurements and research to predict Bitcoin's future price. And supposedly, it forecasts that Bitcoin is going to bottom right around 2021. Okay, crap. Let me go back to that. So he's saying that Bitcoin is going to bottom right around 2021, kind of like right here. And then it's going to start the next bull run around 2022. That's interesting because I've said something similar like that too, but my timeframes are a little bit different. Okay, so I've stated as per this technical structure right here that Bitcoin will probably start bottoming right around end of 2020, maybe beginning of 2021, and we're going to hit possibly a level of about $2,400, which again is derived from this S1 weekly support. Okay, this S1 weekly support also happens to come from this area right here, which is the previous consolidation before we made that big move up. So I'm thinking that possibly Bitcoin is going to head towards S1 weekly support. And if it bounces from here, yeah, it's possible we can start, making our way back up into the next year or 2 or 3 years. But if it breaks that, I'm still thinking that we're going to hit this key high right here in November 2013, which is around $1,200. And that would be, in my opinion, the ultimate low in Bitcoin, where a lot of people will capitulate. Now, you're probably thinking that, well, if prices go that low for Bitcoin, doesn't that mean miners capitulate? I think there will be a lot of miners who will capitulate. Okay. But that's what you need in spaces like this where you need true capitulation. But here's the thing, Bitcoin doesn't die because that happens. Okay. There are still going to be miners. There's still going to be huge firms who can build bigger conglomerate mining operations that can keep mining at these levels, at least, for temporary losses. Okay. But then once prices start to move out, right, those people will then be extremely profitable on the way back up. All right. So I think the inefficient miners will probably get pushed out of the market when prices start dropping. I mean, it's already evident that the inefficient miners right now are already selling because some of their average costs are about, $11,000 or $14,000 or $15,000. And so that's just not sustainable given the current price where it is right now. But if we keep dropping for the next, I don't know, 6 months or 9 more months or something, right? The inefficient miners are going to get pushed out of the market, but the bigger mining firms are going to be able to stay alive. They can keep mining even at losses. Okay. But then that gives you and me a unique opportunity to buy Bitcoin at $2,400 or possibly even lower, all the way down to about $1,300. Okay, this is my final target for Bitcoin is $1,300 to $2,400. I think this individual right here stated that his model brings Bitcoin's price to somewhere around $3,000 or $4,000 levels. Again, I will try to bring him onto our channel and we can ask him questions about his model. And then we can discuss, like how exactly that could happen. What are the conditions that need to be set for that to happen? Does that mean more miner capitulation? I would really like to hear his or her data. But other than that, I've told you guys about this model right here that I've discussed, in my own technical thesis. All right. I still believe that we could still make a lower move down and we'd still be bullish. Doesn't change anything about Bitcoin. Okay. So anyway, with that being said, I'm still thinking that we're going to have another leg down. I'm still thinking that this is going to be a very unique opportunity to short Bitcoin, especially as we kind of grind on the way back up towards this 50 fib and the 618 fib. I'm going to be closing out my longs over here and then add more to my short position, my swing short position up here. Now, people keep asking me about coins like XLM and all these other random altcoins. I personally think that a lot of cryptos right now are hitting key resistance levels. This is not really the time, in my opinion, to FOMO into altcoins. Okay. Whenever you start feeling that FOMO into altcoins, just start thinking to yourself, why is it that I'm FOMOing in at this level? Remember that all this kind of FOMO, this kind of excitement is very, very easily engineered. People with wide reaches onto social media platforms, being able to devise these levels in a very, in a very captivating manner where retail investors and average novices get lured into buying the top. This is very tactical. Okay. It's never the case that Bloomberg literally at the top starts talking about Bitcoin 20,000 this year. Right. I mean, we're at, multi-month resistance. And then they now start talking about Bitcoin at 20,000 or 28,000. Like, you got to be a little bit skeptical. Now, again, listen, I could be totally wrong. And from here, we keep just pushing on up and we just start, taking off. I don't know. But for me, it doesn't make sense why at 10,500, which is key resistance, why would I start getting bullish up there? Right? Or rather getting bullish right here, right at resistance. So think to yourself and ask yourself the question, why is it that people started talking about XLM and all these random, shit coins? Why is it that these coins are brought up at these levels? Now, I'll tell you guys, there's certain coins that I personally think that are still due for potential more upside. I've talked about Algo being one. Okay. I think Algo doesn't really have any near-term resistance right now. So I'm thinking that from here, it could possibly make it back up all the way to this area, this green box right here. Okay. And we'd still be fine because algo does not have the same kind of resistance that XLM does or Ethereum does or Bcash does. But again, algo could completely dump from here if Bitcoin starts dumping. But this is why you need to keep your risk to reward trades tight. Okay. Don't go too heavy into trades. Set stops. Know where to take profit. You must always have a game plan before you enter a trade. All right. You can't just randomly enter a trade and just hope that it keeps going up. Always have a game plan before you even enter. All right. So let me see. I think there was a question about Ethereum the other day, which I missed. So I'll cover that. So even with Ethereum, right? I'm looking at this and let's pull up a different chart on ETH. Let's check out Bitstamp maybe, right? Even with ETH, I'm looking at this chart and I'm thinking, okay, well, this is kind of interesting. Everyone starts getting bullish about Ethereum literally right near resistance right there again, right? So to me, it doesn't make sense why people are spontaneously getting bullish right around this area, okay? Because you're so close to resistance, okay? So these to me are opportunities for either you to take profit or to consider shorts. And again, I'm not here to give you guys financial advice or tell you what to do with your positions, but this is how I look at the market, okay? Not FOMOing into positions, taking it one step at a time, one day at a time, and then thinking about, okay, does this analysis make sense? Should I be long? Should I be short? If so, where are my stops? Where are my take profits? Until you define that game plan, you're not going to be successful. And in this particular instance, a game plan for a long to me doesn't make sense because I'm meeting at least a year-long trend line right now. So what the heck am I, going to long into? Am I longing to make like 2%? That doesn't make any sense to me, right? Anyway, guys, hit the thumbs up if you enjoy my content. I'd really appreciate it. Helps more and more people see our community, see our channel. We are all about trading in this community, investing, education, and we want to show people exactly how Faisal and myself trade on a day-to-day basis. We also want to show you guys, how we deal with losers, right? So here's, one of Faisal's or a couple of Faisal's losers right here, the short position that got stopped out at a loss, okay, which was for Nike, and then Chewy, which is another position that he got stopped out at a loss, or even, my positions right here, okay. I had a short-term position right here, which I closed out at a loss for Algo the other day. Okay, but I re-entered because the chart itself was still looking bullish. So I may enter in and out of positions depending on how the dynamics of the market looks or how exactly am I thinking that Bitcoin is looking. Because remember, Bitcoin kind of dictates a majority of the movement, right? So it doesn't really matter what the heck these altcoins are doing individually. So anyway, so this is the kind of information that we have in our community, right? I show people exactly where I'm entering, the kind of capital that I'm putting down, my target profit, my stops, etc. And then Faisal over here, he puts out daily analysis every single morning to show people exactly how we're trading in the market on a day-to-day basis. So he talks about on a broader perspective that he's still seeing the market continuously pushing up. If we're starting to look at the S&P 500, all right, it sure as heck does look like, it wants to keep pushing up further. But the one thing that I'm still seeing in development of that S&P 500 is this large rising wedge, all right? And if you look on my Twitter, I put up a lot of these retweets from other people talking about how, even back in 2007, 2008, when we started seeing, this kind of bullish movement, even back then, everybody started to FOMO in literally at the top. Okay. And this is the same kind of sentiment and emotional behavior that I'm seeing right now, whether it's crypto, whether it's the stock market. Everyone is thinking about buying now, or they are buying now, or they have bought, just this week. So it's a very scary place, in my opinion, to consider being long. All right. So, make sure you go check out my Twitter page. Follow me on Twitter because I retweet a lot of this stuff. And these are people who have been in the industry for years and decades. And so they know exactly what they're talking about when it comes to the market. So it's not even my position that I'm stating over and over again that I am bearish and I'm still thinking that we're going to head down. It is these smart people who are telling you over and over again what exactly is happening behind the scenes of the stock market, behind the scenes of what's happening in crypto. Okay, so you want to pay attention to the smarter individuals who are showing you what the real signs are, behind the curtains. All right. Let me see. So yeah, again, our euro dollar trade is still doing well. My long trade for Bitcoin is still doing well. My short trade, I'm still considering adding onto my position all the way up to about $9,900. I don't think I want to add higher than that because I'm thinking that, okay, if Bitcoin is going to start rolling back over, I'm kind of thinking something like this. Okay, so let's go to this chart right here. I'm kind of thinking that we should not really pass this 618 fib, 99.81 or so. I'm thinking that we kind of go up like this and then start rolling back down like that. If we push past 618 fib, then I'm cautious. Then I'm careful of, okay, something doesn't seem right. Are we going to kind of go up through this and blast up through this and push higher? Or are we kind of just grinding our way back up and then starting to roll over? And by the way, I like this kind of grinding movement, guys. I like when I see the asset itself grind and grind and grind. When I see big pushes down like this and then I see impulsive moves back up, then I get a little bit fearful that, okay, maybe the buyers really stepped up here and they're really looking to drive this market continuously higher. All right. But in this particular case right here, I'm liking this kind of slow grinding movement like this, and then potentially starting to roll back over. And this kind of reminds me, like I've said before, of this movement right here. Okay, if you look at this drop right here on February 19th, we grinded up for 4 days and then we dumped, right? Again, grinded up and dumped. Okay, so this is the kind of grinding movement that I like to see in the market. And I can show you guys that on a 4-hour time frame so you can see on hourly charts how that looks. See, this is that big drop that we saw on February 19th. And again, you see slow grinding movement back up, drop, and then over here, again, slow grinding movement and then drop. All right. So the reason this kind of grind happens is because the sellers are possibly still selling or distributing or maybe loading up on shorts. Another way you can simply look at this is, just look at it from a fib perspective, right? From that high to this low, again, you can see price just pierces that 70.5% fib right there and then rolls over. Okay, so if we're in that same area right now in terms of that big drop, right, where does that bring us? From this area down, as I've stated, that 70.5% fib should be about 10,086, and then we start that roll back over. Is it going to hit exactly that same level? I don't know. Sometimes if price is really weak, it might even just start rolling over from right here. Okay. If the sellers are really trying to guide the price up into their asks, then it's possible that we start pushing up maybe to the 50 fib, maybe to the 618 fib. By the way, just so you know, I'm going to sell my long position from 98.50 into that 99.80s area, right? I talked about this earlier as well, where we spoke about my long position, which I took this morning, 95.90s. I'm still thinking that my target profit is going to be between 98.50 and 99.80. So, which takes us to, like I said, a 50 fib all the way to that 618 fib. All right. Are there any questions that you guys want me to answer? Anything you want me to cover? Let me see here. Okay, so I think Ezekiel asked a question about Atom. So let's check out Atom real quick. Is that Atom USD? Let me see. Okay, so he got into Atom at 294. Okay. Oh, okay. So here's the thing about Atom. This is the great thing about Atom, which is very similar to the algo chart. Again, see how the structure of this is very similar to Atom? It had a big drop right here and then a slow grind back up. No immediate resistance. Actually, we can even split the chart right here with, let me see. Let's do this. Let's do Atom, Algo USD. Right? So you can look at the chart. You can see the same kind of movement back up, as you can see, right? And then Atom has resistance right there. Algo has resistance up here. Very similar charts. It makes sense because these are both, the Binance favorite coins, right? So they probably have some of the same algos that are driving the price up and down. Okay. But, point is, I'm still thinking that Atom should be able to get towards this green box, and that green box is around 3.274 all the way up to about 3.982, or I guess 3.96. I wouldn't really think of this as, okay, I have to hit the top of this box. If it was me, I'd probably be taking, profits at the first touch right here. It'd be second touch a quarter way into the box, third touch halfway, fourth touch, all the way up here if you want. Okay. So this is, maybe one of the ways where you can look at Atom as a potential mover to the upside, where it might keep pushing a little bit higher. All right. Let me see. Oh, we talked about the hash ribbons, right? These are the BTC hash ribbons that we spoke about. Let me see. Let's go over here. Oh, wrong indicator. So we talked about these hash ribbons right here, right? This is the capitulation starting for Bitcoin, okay? The hash ribbon capitulation that we spoke about before. So if this is indicating to you that there is capitulation coming, and then I also indicated that, well, it doesn't necessarily mean that, Bitcoin pushing back up here is bullish. It could very well be, a slow grind back up, and then it starts rolling over from this key area right here. Okay, this key area right around that 50 fib to 618 fib. All right, and again, if you're looking at it from a 4 hours perspective, again, same thing, right? That 50 fib to 618 fib. But I am still, currently in my long, and I will look to exit between 50 and the 618 fib. All right. Let me see here. I hope you guys do enjoy this content. If you want to come join our community, we have a 50% off discount right now. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoy our content. Until then, I'll catch up with y'all either tomorrow or next week. Okay. Hit the thumbs up. Come join Advantage for 50% off discount. And until then, I'll talk to y'all soon. Cheers.